सदाशिवसमारम्भाम् शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ॐ सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तं न विदुःसुरासुरगणाः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। देवाय तस्मै नमः। We'll chant from Manitvam. Number 7. Amanitvamadambhitvam
अमानित्वमधम्भित्वम्
ahimsa kshantirarjavam
अहिंसा क्षान्तिरार्जवम्
acharyopasanam shaucham
आचार्योपासनं शौचम्
स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः
स्थैर्यमात्मविनिग्रहः
इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम्
इन्द्रियार्थेषु वैराग्यम्
अनहङ्कार एव च
अनहङ्कार एव च
जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्
जन्म मृत्युजरा व्याधि दुःखदोषानुदर्शनम्.
So there we don't split because it is one word. That line that we chanted, the second half of mantra number 8 is just one word. That is why we try to keep it like that. Asaktiranabhishvangaha
असक्तिरनभिष्वङ्गः
पुत्रदारगृहादिषु
पुत्रधारगृहादिषु
नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम्
नित्यं च समचित्तत्वम्
इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु
इष्टानिष्टोपपत्तिषु
मयि चानन्ययोगेन
मयि चानन्ययोगेन
भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी
भक्तिरव्यभिचारिणी
विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम्
विविक्तदेशसेवित्वम्
अरतिर्जनसंसदि
अरदिर्जनसंसते
अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम्
अध्यात्मज्ञाननित्यत्वम्
तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम्
तत्त्वज्ञानार्थदर्शनम्
एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम्
एतज्ज्ञानमिति प्रोक्तम्
अज्ञानं यदतोऽन्यथा
अज्ञानं यततोऽन्यथा.
So we started seeing these values, amanitvam, adambitvam. Manitvam is the absence of self-glorification or absence of self-conceitedness. Adambitvam absence of pretension. Amanitvam can be also called as humility. Adambitvam can be called as simplicity. One who does not pretend to be somebody else. The person has no hang-ups and no need to, no pressure inside to look a particular way, to dress in a particular way. No pressure is there. We nothing wrong in dressing, not appropriately, etc. But if I don't dress in a particular way, what will people think of me? If this idea is there, then that means there is some pressure in me. If I don't look in a particular way, then I'm worried about what people will think of me. So those things are not there for that person, for an Adambi. And so, simplicity. All right. Then we looked at ahimsa. We started looking at. And ahimsa can be direct also. Kayikam, vachikam, manasam. It's all direct. Person A physically hitting person B, abuse, physical abuse, direct ahimsa. And indirect also is possible. Indirect. And so, a lot of things we do. In fact, many things we do in our life these days may be contributing towards himself. Okay, it's all possible. You know, because see, suppose somebody eats meat. Okay, the reason vegetarianism can only be found in India. India is the only place where it's a birthplace of vegetarianism. No, everywhere else you go, they look at you like this if you say you are a vegetarian, as though we are from some other planet. Okay, I know that. I've been to places, and this is a problem everywhere. At least it used to be a big problem. These days, it's not that difficult to get vegetarian food. And that's because of this heightened sense of ahimsa, himsa and ahimsa, heightened sense. And in talking also, you got the word you. There is tum and then there is aap. In English, there is only one word, you. Just you. Young person, baby also you. And then senior most person in the room also you. Okay. But Yahampur, it's not like that. So there is tum, there is aap, and then there's more stuff. Then Bhavan and all is there, Sanskrit, Tangal and all in languages. Third person, third person, not second. From second person, we shift to third person. Correct? What would Swamiji like to have? So that's a very heightened sense of sensitivity here. And so in our karmas and all, when we give something to somebody, you give it like this, or you can give it with two hands. Correct? Two hands. It's very when you think about it, it's amazing. Means there could be potential disrespect. I can be more respectful by using two hands. And that's why when you take prasad, you don't take prasad with one hand. Generally, we don't. Generally, we don't. Unless it's very crowded, then there's no place to stand, sit, nothing. And there's no place to move. You just stretch your hand like this. There also, you put your hand in the back like this. So this is all very heightened sense of interaction. In interactions also, there's a potential, a slight chance that some disrespect may be construed. And so that kind of things we have here in our culture, which you can't explain. This you can't explain. Go to America and explain this. Why did you do this? If they ask, you can't explain. They won't understand. So even to understand this, it takes I don't know how many thousands of years of evolution. And so this ahimsa is valued, and indirect himsa these days we do a lot. Okay, and simple thing, using computers, is himsa involved or not? What do we say? Okay. So they'll tell you all about all these landfills, how computers are filling up landfills and all kinds of e-waste. They say e-waste. It's all himsa to the environment. And environment means water, air, everything gets polluted. And those days we used to, there is something called what do you call that? Aerosols, those things which give out perfumes and all. And they had some material which straight went all the way up and then reacted with the ozone. The Earth is covered by an ozone shell, and then it was making a hole in the ozone, allowing the ultraviolet rays to come inside. Okay, this is those days I used to hear a lot about that 30, 40 years, 30 years ago, 40 years ago. So we don't even know how we are damaging the ecosystem in ways that we don't know. We only know a few things. Unknowingly, what we do, only God knows. And and then there is all these things, animal related himsa we do a lot. Some people will say going to the circus creates himsa because animals. We don't know how the animals are treated, and I am paying for that abuse. People will say that because you have to see how these animals are trained, how they are poked, how they are beaten, and all. We don't know how they are made to submit. Elephants made to stand, sit, lions made to do this, that, etc. We don't know what all goes. So we just have to be aware of all these things. Going to the zoo and all, we don't know. Everything looks good from the outside. Looks good from the outside, and so so I told you I was involved with PETA. I protested outside Shed Aquarium in Chicago because when I came to know about all this, I was studying so much at one time that I knew exactly where all abuse was going on. Okay, and so this is a big thing. We have to. I'm not suggesting we stop going to circuses or this or that, but we have to keep that in mind. As that sensitivity is very important when we study Vedanta, especially. And so, pet industry. Go to the store and buy a pet favorite, some puppy you buy. But you go pet industry, it's a locus of himsa, lot of himsa, because the way the consumer looks at the pet is not the way the seller of the pet looks at it's not a pet anymore for the seller. For me only it's a pet, but for the manufacturer, it's an animal, it's another product. It's another product. Something is not well, just put it in the trash. A live being is put in the trash. That's what is being done. And so indirectly we do a lot. Immense. And this is the reason some people become vegans also. Because they say, no, in the production of milk, there is so much himsa. You just go, you have to go and see how milk is produced. And then you'll wonder what we have done to ourselves. That's what you'll get the idea. And so the way cows are treated and this and that is just not good at all. And like this, throughout anything, you look at anything we do, travel, air travel, does it cause himsa or not? On the environment, definitely IMSA. I think one of the largest air travel pollutes air pollution, water pollution using de-icers and fuels and other things in the airport, and then noise pollution. They say people living around the airports and all. Children's sleep patterns are affected. There is increased cardiovascular disorders in that community. All these things are there. So we just choose to ignore this. That's how life progresses. And so himsa. So himsa is if you, um, it's a big topic. If you really have to look into himsa, then we have to. Our life will change. If somebody decides I'm going to minimize himsa. We can't eliminate himsa. Okay, not possible. If you decide I'm going to eliminate himsa, minimize himsa, then we have to make big changes to our lifestyles. Is it not? Big changes to a conscious decision. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this. So, which means suddenly you will become almost a sannyas lifestyle. That's how it will become. And including electricity and all. Electricity generation creates pollution and God knows what all. Buying products, we don't know which products are made where. Made in China, it says. You have to see, go to the sweatshop and see how it is manufactured, how people are treated there, etc. Go to Africa, all this whatever minerals, all this what is that? Electronics.
Diamonds.
Diamonds is a big story. Diamonds is a very big story. The way they are treated and way it's guarded, the supply chain on diamonds. The cheapest material that is sold at huh? The cheapest material that is sold at the highest price is diamond. Okay, so amount of himsa that goes on in those industries seen to be believed. Okay,
Silk sarees.
silk sarees, yeah, silk sarees. You said it. I hope it's reducing. I don't know. I don't know. They say artificial silk and all had come, but we have to really pay attention to all this. We have to really pay attention. We can't talk Vedanta in the morning and then the afternoon we go after all these things. It's not correct. That's all lopsided, understand.
Extraction of honey, Guruji. Honey.
Honey. Yeah, honey. So these days they have this, is it? Something free, himsa free. They have a word for it. Animal testing free, free of animal testing, all these things. Because animal testing, a lot of himsa goes. Anyway, that's a big story. I don't want to get into that. But understand that himsa is not completely avoidable. If you see an insect coming in, what do you do in your house? A small snake has come. What do? You can't do a snake puja, sarpa puja. You have to be careful. You have to be careful. Be very careful. Be very careful. Be judicious. If you have to hit it out, get it hit it out. Period. Because that's it. Because life is in danger. Human life is in danger. So we have to interpret, but we have to do prayashchitam. If I killed a snake this morning, I have to do prayashchitam for many days because that snake may not have intended, and then I occupied the snake's habitat first of all to begin with. So this is a huge thing, and so I have to do prayashchitam. Every day I have to chant mantras available to protect myself, my family, and this animal, whatever. So there is so much to be done. And so constructing a home, so much himsa is there. And sometimes not avoidable. And so we have to be aware of this. Prayashchit, even a vegetarian, they will ask you, typical defense of the non-vegetarian is, hey, even you are eating plants and you are hurting plants. Who are you to advise me? That's what they will say. Yeah. So for that, the answer is yes, correct. You're correct. I'm so happy you recognize that eating plants also involves himsa. I'm so happy because that itself many people don't know. And so we try to minimize himsa. We don't pluck leaves and this just like that. Flowers and all, you just either don't use it or use it judiciously. And we have to do prayashchitam every day. Karacharana kritam va kayajam karmajam va. We have to really think through what all I did during the day and what the manasam va aparadam, vihitam avihitam va sarvameta kshamasva. My goodness, this covers all bases. All bases are covered in this shloka. Karacharana kritam va. Everybody knows this shloka or no? Yeah, anybody who doesn't know, raise your hand if you don't know. Yeah, Prasanna, Kumar, Shanthi, a few people. Yeah, Ramesh ji, etc. All right. So we have to bring everybody to the same baseline. So I think I have to talk about it. I'm using some corporate language. Periodically, I might use. Please don't mind me about baseline and all this. It's been a long time since I used that word. Okay. Kara charana kritam va. It's not a big deal. Kara means the hand. Charana. Charana means legs. Kritam. So any papa karma that I've done with my hands and legs, because I could walk over stuff. Kayajam karmajam va. Kayajam. Kaya means other parts of the body. Physical. Karmajam va. Karmajam. Through any acts done by these things. Okay. Manasam va aparadham. Any aparadham that I've done, manasam va. Even mentally, if some thought occurred in my mind which which uh, which had the potential to cause hurt, did not cause hurt, but since thoughts have the potential, it's a seed. Thought is a seed which eventually manifests, and that's why they say, watch your thoughts because they become your words. Choose your words because they become your actions. Understand your actions because they become your habits. Study your habits because they become your character. Develop your character because it becomes your destiny. So it all begins here. Therefore, manasam is important. Manasam va aparadam. Then vihitam avihitam va. Vihitam means this in a Vedic society. Vihitam karma. These are the karmas I'm supposed to do. Nitya karma, naimittika karma. I may not have done it, which also creates himsa. You know why? I'll give you an example. Let's say Shraddha Karma is there. Let's say this Amavasya Tarpanam is there. All our Deva Tarpanam, Rishi Tarpanam, we do all this. These Devas, guess what? Deva Loka may be a great Loka, but they don't have Kartrutvam. It seems they get food only from us. Rishis, they get food only from us. Only when we give it, it goes to them. Yeah. So it is our duty to do all these karmas. Otherwise, they go hungry. Pitris go hungry. That's why Pitri Pindam and all is there. So it's very, very complicated and very highly sensitive it is. Because they believe that in those loka, comfortable lokas, but they also they need our help. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantaha shreyas paramavapsyata. We saw that. We saw that in the third chapter, correct? So, okay, it's third chapter. So, therefore, they depend on us. Devas depend on us, and we depend on devas. Because all the cosmic forces, they're all devas. Therefore, vihitam avihitam va. Vihitam means what I should have done, I may not have done. That is himsa. What should not be done, I might have done. That also is himsa. Vihitam avihitam va sarvam etat kshamasva. Kshamasva, please pardon me for all these omissions and commissions. Okay? Shiva Shiva Karunabde Shri Mahadeva Shambho. Karunabde. There we address this guy as Karunabdi. Because you're an abode of compassion. I know you have this great ability to pardon whatever I do. So therefore I invoke that compassion in you. So this is the shloka. Okay, later on we'll spell it out.
You missed the Shravana Nayanajam.
Shravana
Shravana
Nayanajam.
Nayanajam.
This reminds me of something. Savanam means hearing. I must have heard about it, should not hear. Or I saw things, and by my eyesight also, it encouraged me to do things, etc. I'm reminded of these three monkeys. Don't see anything ill, don't hear anything bad, like three monkeys. Those days they used to have three monkeys and homes and all they used to have. I don't know. I have not seen it in a while now. But yeah, so basically, alert living. It only an alert person can really say, okay, I think it's better for me not to go there because it's something doesn't feel right about it. Okay? So that's sensitivity. That's sensitivity. And so this is the Karacharana Kritam Vak. Vak is speech. Charana Kritam Vak is speech. Speech. Hurting by speech is the worst form of hurting, right? Those insults, those wounds can stay for a whole life. Okay? Vak kayajam karmajam va shravana nayanajam va manasam va aparadam vihitam avitam. Covered it. So that's a beautiful shloka. So we'll share it with you on WhatsApp. What I said. Every night, my grandmother taught me to say it every night. Every night I must say this. Like that, she said. So anyway, ahimsa, very important because number one, the whole world runs because of this value. Because of this value, commonly sensed value. This value need not be taught. Because I know I don't want to be hurt by anybody. Therefore, it is my duty not to hurt another person. Very commonly sensed. And therefore, this ahimsa is important. I need to uphold that value. There was a conference of religions where Swamiji was there and many heads of other religions were there. And there was a discussion about, mutual respect for religions, conversion, all these topics came up. The Islamic person head told Swamiji, we don't believe in ahimsa. That's it, over. Do what you want. We don't believe in ahimsa and all. This is what he said. Swamiji told us in a satsang, he said that. And so, we don't have balance in society. There are there's no balance. We think there is balance, but really there is no balance. There are certain forces that are just tilted in a different direction. And so society has to think through all this. Anyway, and second reason, I sow what I reap. I sow what I reap. At least in our dharma, we believe it. Whether others believe it or not, we don't know. In Christianity, in Bible, I think the statement itself might be from Bible. I don't know. And also what I give or what I don't give comes back to me amplified also. So what do they say? I sow the wind, I reap the whirlwind. I sow the wind, I reap the whirlwind. Okay, like that they say. And so this is subtle, very subtle. A child may not know all these things, and that's why the parents constantly say, no, you can't do that. No, you can't do that. How will it be if your friend takes away your toy? How will you feel? And then the child suddenly one major revelation. Oh, really? Is that? Now the child doesn't have any defense to that. The defense is not there. All the time it's very smart, it's arguing, but now for this there is no defense. And so that is second reason. Third reason, for Vedanta, we need a lot of sensitivity. Because even Yamadharma Raja told in Kathopanishad, Sukshmaya Sukshma Darshibhihi eva Drishyate tu Agraya Buddhya. It requires a Sukshma Buddhi. What kind of Buddhi? Very smart, intelligent, that kind of thing? No. That kind of intelligence we are not talking about. This sensitivity, intelligence born of sensitivity is very critical. And so, therefore, sensing other people's pain and all that, which is basic human instinct, which gets suppressed because of pressure, because of competition. We try to look the other way. Oh, no time. Somebody fell on the road, but I have time. I'm late for a meeting. Hey, I'm supposed to help that person or no? No, if I help the person then what else? What happens? If suppose he's hurt, then what? First aid. I have to run somewhere to get first aid also. Suppose he has to be taken to a hospital. My God, do I have time for all these things? See, instinctively we know what to do, but we don't do because of pressure. Too much pressure out there. And the way to neutralize that is to be clear about our values. And practice it when you get a chance. I always do that. When I get a chance, I practice it. Hey, now is a chance. For my own sake, let me practice. I do that. Periodically, I will do it. Some unexpected thing I will do. Just so that, Like, for example, I told you, I'm not boasting. I'm just telling you because all of you should practice all these things. Red light and crowded. I was in my two-wheeler and somebody was, begging blind person with another person. And the signal is about to become green. And I got off my vehicle and then I gave them something. It's a bit far away also because they're not in the middle of the road, they're at the side only. And then I came back running because it's going to be green shortly. And then and people looked at me and they said, so that means what? Everybody values. For me, the benefit is what? Hey, people value it. Yeah. So somebody has to show these are things you can do. Somebody has to do it. We should do it and show it to people. Don't just look around, and then we become harder and harder and it becomes a norm. Don't allow these things to become the norm. It's the idea here. And so, therefore, for Vedanta also, Naisha Tarkena Matirapaneya. Hey, I can't use my smartness to figure this Atma out. Not possible. Won't work. This life is what we have, and this life, the more sensitive I am, I become a patra for Vedanta. Correct? I become a patra. Means I become qualified for this. And so that's why Krishna is listing this as an important thing. So kayika, vachika, manasa, himsa, varjanam is ahimsa. Kayika, vachika, manas for human beings. Kayika, physical. Vachika, by words we can hurt. Or manasa, by mind also we can hurt. And therefore, this becomes a major vow, major vratam, mahavratam, because it's not easy. Ahimsa is not easy at all. We have to keep refining our idea of ahimsa. Year after year, we talk about New Year resolution. Add this to a New Year resolution. I want to understand ahimsa better. I want to see how I can bring in a little more of ahimsa in my life this year. Okay, that's a very, very good resolution to have, and New Year resolution. And so that is why many people who are sensitive will move away from very competitive environments, workplaces. They will say, no, this is not right for me because it's too competitive. And not that I'm afraid of competition, but himsa is involved. Himsa is involved. Therefore, I'd rather go to a job which is much more cleaner, simpler, and just do my job and go away from there. That's it. All these things we've seen in our own lives, in our friends' lives, etc. And also, major vow, sannyasa. Sannyasa, the vow of a sannyasa, vrata. Sannyasa, vrata is what? I sarva bhutebhyaha abhayam. I am unafraid of anything in this world, and nothing in this world needs to be afraid of me anymore. I'm not a competitor. Means what? If a dog comes when I'm eating, you know what a sannyasi will do? Sannyasi will give to the dog. That's it. Over. That is my karma today. The food is not meant for me. If I have to go hungry, because the dog is coming, I can't say. Maybe I'll share with the dog. Okay, that I will give little, I'll take a little give. This is how sannyasa means what? All people who have that sensitivity will do that. But a sannyasi, it's a vow, it's a mahavratam. Mahavratam. Therefore, it's not Yes, has to be earned, as Puja Swamiji would say. It is not just like that. Wearing a particular dress and sitting somewhere is not sannyas. And in the last chapter, we saw a shloka. Yasman no dvijate lokaha, lokan no dvijate chayaha. He's talking about that person. The person who is a muktaha. Okay, muktaha. Free. Who is that person who is free? The one from which nobody has any fear. Yasman no dvijate, udvijate. That person cannot invoke fear in anybody. Such a person. Neither is that person afraid of anything else. That person is a mukta. I am unafraid of anything else, but I create a lot of fear. Whenever people look at me, they just walk away, instead of saying, come forward and doing those things. That's of no use. So this is an important vrata. And in Ashtanga Yoga, Yama Niyamadi, there are Ashtangas. Ashtanga Yoga, there are Yama, don'ts. There is ahimsa, satyam, asteyam, brahmacharyam, and then aparigraha. Ahimsa is listed first. First is ahimsa. First yama is ahimsa. First don'ts is caution against himsa. Okay. So, and we also saw ahimsa earlier. Ahimsa, samata, tushtihi, like that. We saw it in the 10th chapter also. So that word has come before. Okay. This concludes the discussion on ahimsa. We'll talk about this animal sacrifice and all is there. See, that question comes up because Vedic society is a very sensitive society, and means it has the ideas it propounds are all requires a lot of sensitivity, including this vegetarianism itself. It's like the born of this ahimsa. Now, this animal sacrifice, I'll tell you, there are two views. Okay, one view is that view means what? There are mantras in the Vedas which involve animal sacrifice. Okay, like goats and all sacrifice. Now, to do these kinds of yagas where an animal is sacrificed, the people who do the yagas have to do tapas. They have to do japa. They have to do japa because the animal is sacrificed for a purpose, but the animal is claimed to get moksha. No more further birth for this animal. So the tapas has to be done, japa has to be done so well and with such shraddha that this animal, which is going to be sacrificed for some other purpose, gets moksha. So there's a lot of responsibility taken for the animal. And so there's some science behind that, and I don't know all the science. So the Pashubandham, it's called Pashubandham. Then Yupa, there is a Yupa. There's an octagonal, there's a stick, we call it staff, that is tied, unto which the animal is tied, etc. There is some procedure involved. Okay. Sayupaha, like that they say. Okay. Then this other view is there. Professor Kashyap, Purdue University, he translated all these Vedas. And he says these animal sacrifice is really not the real animal sacrifice. He says an idol of an animal is made, an image of an idol is made with certain materials, and that animal is kept and sacrificed. The real animal is invoked in this artificial animal. Like that, he claims. Professor Kashyap is very clear about it. And so both these views are there. You take these views and you do your own research, talk to people, talk to people who know about this and let them tell us more. Okay. So I want you to be aware. This is all there out there. Animal sacrifice is there. I think Shankara also mentioned somewhere that there is animal sacrifice because the Sayupa, Yupa comes in Mundaka Upanishad. One word Yupa comes. And that word Yupa refers to that pole, that wooden pole, octagonal, cross-sectional wooden pole where the animal is sacrificed. Okay. So we'll leave it at that. Okay. Any other questions? You come back to me. Okay. Ahimsa is over. Next. Shanti. Shanti. Kama. Sham dhatu. Sham. Kama karna. So that Shama means what? Sham. Accepting of somebody. Correct? Shama means what? Okay, whatever you did is okay. Fine. And account is clear. Account must be clear. Okay, you did it now, I'm doing Shama, but I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life, so I come back to you. No, that's not Shama. That is not Shama. And so, Shama means account is closed. That's it. No more. There's not even a memory of this. That is a real Shama. And so, Shanti means what? Accepting situations, gladly accepting situations over which we have no control, which can apply to all aspects of our life, inside the home, outside the home, in a workplace, everywhere where there are relationships. There is going to be situations which are going to cause stress. Stress that comes from that one relationship, relating transactions, and there are situations which just cause so much friction, so much unhealthy air and chemistry. All that is there. Okay, so there that shantitvam, shantita has to be involved. Also called titiksha. Titiksha is a word that is used. It is used in the adhikaritvam. It is used, right? It's one of the attributes. Shatka sampatti. It's an attribute. So it's a very important thing. And because we have to acknowledge that we don't have choice in many things. We don't have choice in our name. What parents we didn't have choice. And the dharma we are born into, we didn't have choice. Male, female, we didn't have choice. We didn't have choice in so many things. Why are you living in this city? Because I got a job here. Okay. Why did you get this job? Because I applied for this job and many jobs I applied for, but only this company made me an offer. Therefore, whose choice was it for them to give the job to me? Was it your choice? No, it's not my choice. Okay. So like this, you look around. Some of the biggest things in our life, we never had choice. Correct? Some of the biggest things in life, never had choice. And Krishna uses the word apariharyarthe in the second chapter. Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu dhruvam janma mritasya cha tasmad apariharyarthe. Hey Arjuna, look, for that which has birth, jatasya hi dhruvo mrityuhu. Death is certain. And for that which has death, birth is also certain. He says that there. Okay?
Three times he says that.
Huh?
3 times he says that.
3 times he says that. And tasmad apariharyarthe. Hey, therefore, over this fact which cannot be changed, that tvam shochitum arhat. You can't grieve over things like this. Already we have enough things to grieve. And then on things that you can't change, you should not grieve like that, he says. Okay? So apariharyarthe. Okay? Pariharya means parihara is not there. Pariharam, you know pariharam, right? Pariharam means prayaschittam. Means something I can do. Can I do something? Yeah, it's going to rain. You can't change. But can I take an umbrella? Yes. Umbrella I can carry. Okay, carry an umbrella. That's a parihara for that. All right. So he mentioned that there itself. So in birth we don't have choice. Death also we don't have choice. There's some leading causes of death is there. Heart disease, and then smoking and pollution, stress. They list all these things, right? They have a way of kind of listing all these things. Somebody told me the other day, just 1 month ago, I was talking. That person told me on the phone, Jaykumar ji, what is the leading cause of death? He said, birth is the leading cause of death. Can you believe this? I said, hats off to you. I'm going to remember this and tell this in my class. That's what I told him that day. And so it came out today. And so that's just by the way. Okay. And
Another joke is the heartbreak, cardiac arrest. All death certificates have the cardiac arrest case.
cardiac arrest. Okay. Yeah. And so long ago, I remember long ago, before I got into Vedanta and all, I read a statement. The statement is, even the best of friends cannot attend each other's funerals. I read this statement. I said, my goodness, it is a true statement, yes, but it's also very sobering, very sobering. He said, wow, we talk so much about friendship and this, we do so much and all. Finally, yeah, really? That's how it is. It's a very sad fact. Yeah. So there are things we can't change. And so we have to learn to accept. Shanti is so important. And Swamiji, Swamiji says something very significant. See, accepting people and situations does not mean condoning adharma. Condoning wrong means excusing somebody is hurting. Abuse, physical abuse and emotional abuse, child abuse, all these things are there everywhere. In a home it can happen, outside the home it can happen, workplaces it happens, and other places where children are involved it can happen. You can't condone. And therefore, the sooner we recognize in a family, especially abuse in the family is the worst. The man abuses the rest of the family, whoever, children are abused. And these days, nuclear family, both are working. And so now the patience is reducing. And now children take the brunt of this stress, right? They end up becoming in the receiving end. So it's very, very hard to see all these things going on. Very hard. And there is one friend who visited me a few months ago. And he told me they're doing a good service. They are recognizing poor people, children with hearing deficiency. Okay, so at a young age, you have to identify this. And if you identify and correct it, then what happens? Because deaf people can't speak also. So this speaking and hearing are connected. And so you have to identify deafness right up front. And if you can do it, then you can save that person. That person will gain not only hearing but also speaking. And so they do a very good service in Hyderabad. They work with other hospitals and then identify this. They provide this service. And he told me one thing. He said they are now planning to start something for autistic children. And he told me a little about autism. And he said, it's very sad to hear. He said these people were two income families. Both persons are working, both are sitting on the computer. The mother is sitting on the computer right there in the center. Father doesn't have time for the child. And the child is not even hugged properly. And so this child develops what is called autism. And it's so hands on. And so now some other system has to take care of this autistic child. And they are trying to say, you know what? There is a very easy solution to this. Just be with this child, talk with the child, hug the child, and just cuddle the child for a few minutes. No time. No time for it. So what is this? Ahimsa? Which category it comes? I don't know. And so I was talking about abuse, etc. So that abuse has to be taken care of. If somebody in the family is abusing people, then some drastic actions may be required. We can't get confused between shanti and ahimsa, right? To prevent himsa, we may have to take some drastic actions. Okay, like a war. In this case, dharma yuddha is a drastic act. A lot of violence is involved, but it's a dharma yuddha. Okay, it is done at the end of the war. Himsa will be minimized, not increased. If I let go, then the himsa will keep on increasing. That's the idea. And so, therefore, the shanti is important because otherwise there's going to be bitterness. A lot of bitterness will be there. With bitterness, one cannot be productive. One cannot lead a contented life. Not possible. Therefore, and there will be a lot of negative energy, and then that goes, negative energy spreads to other people, etc. So shanti, where required, must be invoked. And Swamiji says this is one of the most important values for a human being, Today, at least, he says that's important. Just because in nuclear families, when stress builds, there must be just at least one person who can absorb that stress, correct? Who can neutralize the stress. No, it's all right. We will deal with it. No, it's okay. Let's don't worry about it. Somebody, just one word, somebody says it's okay. It relieves the children. It relieves people. It's okay. Is it really? Is it okay? Yeah, it's okay. Don't worry. I'll take care of it. That's it. That word the child has to hear. The child has to hear. Otherwise, the child also gets stressed. And that's also a type of ahimsa. And so, and understanding the background, in order to enjoy the shanti, you know what? We need to understand the background of the person. You can't simply look the other way when somebody did something which is hurtful to us. Can't just ignore it, right? But then, Swamiji gives this example. The son kicked the father. The son kicked the father. Now, is it to be condoned or not? Should the father get upset or what? The answer is this. The father is holding the son in the hands, just hardly for 3 months, 4 months. Okay, now I'm giving you the context, right? Previously, I did not give you the context. And the 4-month-old baby, and the baby's son is just kicking the father on the mouth, not ordinary, anywhere on the mouth, kicking on the mouth, okay, on the face, kicking. And you know what the father says? Runs with the baby to the mother and says, "Look, your son, he's kicking me." And then everybody enjoys the show. And he's kicking me. Look at this guy. Such a small guy is kicking me. Everybody is cuddling. Oh, beta, this, that, and all they say. And then what happens? In our Indian movies, they have a way of showing how time flies. And then they will show the calendar just fluttering in, and then the pages of the calendar just fly. That means what? Hey, days are passing, weeks have passed, months have passed, years have passed, and suddenly the man has a gray beard, and then the son is whatever, teenager beyond and married and all. And then also the son says something which is almost like kicking the father. And now how does this guy deal with it? Previously he dealt with it. How did he deal with it? He dealt with it by understanding the context. Hey, this is a baby. A baby has no intention to hurt anybody else. This is not hurt. These are all the baby smiling and kaka kaka doesn't even know what doesn't even know that I have a body, I have legs, I'm kicking. Nothing the baby knows. That's the background. The father understood the background from which the action is emanating. It is a kicking, act of kicking only. But what is the background? Here also, the father looks at this boy, and it's an insult. It's an insult. I'm about to get insulted. But the father said, you know what? This guy's drunk. He's under the influence. He's under the influence of alcohol. Okay. I think he wouldn't mean this in his senses. I think I have to allow sense to come. And therefore, he brought the new context again and then said, and then enjoyed shanti. Shanti. Otherwise, it will be fireworks. Get out of here. You shall not enter this house anymore. You're not my son anymore. All this language comes. And so that background of the person has to be understood, which requires again a lot of understanding. All these values, that's why we say ahimsa, you don't need Veda to come and tell us, Krishna to come and tell us you should not hurt others. I know I should not hurt others. But what happens if I hurt others? That you should come and tell. What happens? So what? The child doesn't know. So what if I take somebody else's pencil, pen, or toy? Okay? Child doesn't know. It has to be told. It told, then it understands. But then as we grow up, the value of the value is not clear. Not clear. What happens if I cut corners? Value is not clear. And Swamiji would say, if the enormity of the loss is clear to me, if I hurt or if I abuse, if the enormity of the loss that I'm going to incur, if that becomes clear to me, there is really no chance. There's really no chance I will hurt others like that, he will say. And so this bitterness, hanging around with bitterness is not good for us. And then other problems will be there. Guilt and hurt are going to accompany, children. This often happens with children. The teacher hurts the child, and then the teacher goes and cries later. Why did I hurt the child? And so everywhere it happens. And so living with guilt and hurt is the most damaging aspect of our lives. Anything we can take care of, but guilt and hurt never go away. It just ruins our lives, and we can't even sleep in the night. That's how bad it is. And so we have to be very careful, and that's why Krishna is listing these values, ahimsa and shanti. And Swamiji says, I would say it should occupy the most important place in the value structure. He says, okay, every other value will just follow. Amanitvam, adambitvam, etc. will follow once you have shanti or ahimsa. Both values are important. That's why ahimsa paramo dharma. Paramo dharma. Dharma is, many aspects are there, but paramo dharma, paramaha dharmaha, ahimsa. Like that, all of you would have heard. Because if I have that value, then everything else will be automatic. And so, so he says, because there is so much competition and tension born of that competition in today's world, the shanti, letting go, as opposed to I, me, myself, and it's for me, I need to get it, I need to grab it, everybody goes and grabs, then things are not going to work. I saw a beautiful exercise a teacher did with children. Small children are there, okay? Young children. It's a child care center, okay? Many children are there. And then they gave a big balloon to each child. And then with a name, Vivek, name written on that balloon. So that's my balloon. And then that's your balloon, your name is written on it. And then what the teacher, okay, throw all the balloons in the center of the room. And then she says, mix it up. And then she says, go get your balloon. And then there's a mad rush. All children are rushing. And then it's looking around, beating each other up, this, that, everything going on. And then finally, they get it. Then she says, she does the same exercise again. And she says, now, everybody should get their balloons, okay? In the shortest period of time. In the shortest period of time. How will you do it? And then the children rush. You know what the children do? They look at the balloon, they look at the name Aarti. Aarti, this is yours. Look at the Vivek, this is yours. That's it, over. Within 5 seconds, the whole game's over. I thought that experience was fantastic. And so, we have to really spend some time on this. But that's why I suppose Krishna is talking about these values. And so, we appreciate it. And that's probably why he's calling these values as jnanam. Then we'll come to Arjavam in the next class. A very beautiful value also. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om